Rain lashed against the glass doors of the Grand Horizon Hotel, each drop reflecting the cold indifference of the night. Inside, the golden light shimmered off marble floors, the scent of expensive perfume hung in the air, and people moved like shadows of luxury, graceful, oblivious, entitled. Behind the front desk stood Maya Williams, her tired eyes and gentle smile betraying a long day of double shifts and quiet endurance. She was one of the few black women on staff, and though her uniform matched everyone else's, her treatment often didn't. Maya had learned to swallow pride the same way she swallowed exhaustion, silently. She needed this job. Her husband, David, was away on a business trip. He'd promised that soon, things would be easier. He was working on something big, he said. Something that would change their lives forever. But tonight, fate had something cruel and ultimately just in store. The hotel lobby buzzed with late-night guests escaping the storm. Umbrellas dripped water onto the floor as people complained about delayed taxis and soaked luggage. The manager on duty, Charles Benson, strutted out from his office. His name tag gleamed as much as his ego. Charles was the kind of man who smiled when the general manager was near, but sneered when no one else was watching. "Williams," he snapped, seeing Maya help a couple with towels. "You're supposed to be behind the desk, not playing maid." "Yes, Mr. Benson," she replied softly, setting the towels aside and returning to her station. Moments later, a young woman entered, drenched from head to toe, her coat clinging to her skin. Her umbrella had broken in the storm, and her makeup had run slightly. She approached the desk, shivering. "Good evening," Maya greeted warmly. "Welcome to the Grand Horizon. Do you have a reservation?" The woman nodded, handing over her ID. "It should be under Catherine Lewis." Maya typed swiftly, then smiled. "Yes, Mrs. Lewis. I see your suite right here. Let me." Before she could finish, Charles appeared beside her, glancing between Maya and Catherine. "What's going on here?" he demanded. "She's checking in, sir," Maya said quietly. Charles looked Catherine up and down, the soaked coat, the frizzy hair, the tired eyes, and frowned. "Are you sure she has a reservation?" he said loudly, making nearby guests turn their heads. "This is a 5-star hotel." Catherine stiffened. "Excuse me?" Maya's chest tightened. "She does, sir. It's confirmed." Charles cut her off. "I'll handle this." He leaned toward Catherine with a fake smile. "I think there's been a mistake, ma'am. Perhaps you're looking for the Midtown and down the street?" Catherine's face flushed with humiliation. "I said my name is Catherine Lewis. You can check again." Charles sighed dramatically, shaking his head. "Fine. But while we sort this out, please don't drip all over the marble. We just had it cleaned." He grabbed a towel from the counter and to everyone's shock, he tossed it in her face. The towel slapped against her cheek, water splattering across the desk. Gasps filled the lobby. Maya froze, her heart racing. Catherine slowly lowered the towel, her voice trembling. "Did you just?" "You're soaking wet," Charles said coldly. "Just trying to help you out, sweetheart." The word sweetheart dripped with condescension. That was it. Maya's composure broke. "Mr. Benson, that was uncalled for," she said, voice shaking. Charles turned on her, eyes narrow. "Watch your tone, Williams. I don't need lectures from staff who should be grateful just to be here." Catherine stared at Maya, then back at Charles. She said nothing, but her silence spoke of fury contained behind civility. She picked up her bag, her dignity intact despite the insult. "You'll regret that," she said softly and walked away, leaving the towel on the floor. Charles chuckled. "Some people just don't know their place." Maya clenched her fists. Every fiber in her body wanted to scream, but she couldn't risk her job. Not yet. The night dragged on painfully. The story of what happened spread among staff like wildfire. Some whispered sympathy, others looked away, afraid of losing their positions too. By morning, something strange happened. A black limousine pulled up outside the hotel. Security rushed to open the doors, and out stepped a tall man in a tailored navy suit. His presence commanded silence the moment he entered. His eyes, sharp, knowing, scanned the lobby. Charles adjusted his tie nervously and approached. "Welcome to the Grand Horizon, sir. May I ask who you're?" "I'm here to see your staff," the man interrupted. Immediately. Something in his tone froze everyone. Even the guests sensed the shift in the air. Charles stammered, "Of course, sir. May I ask who?" The man's gaze locked onto Maya. A flicker of relief crossed her face. "David," she whispered. The entire lobby turned. David Lewis. Catherine's husband. The billionaire CEO of Lewis International, a name Charles had bragged about wanting to impress for years. David walked toward Maya, his jaw tight with barely restrained anger. "You okay?" he asked softly. Maya nodded hesitantly. "Yes, but how did you?" "Catherine called me," he said, eyes never leaving Charles. "She told me everything." Charles's color drained. "Wait, your wife? You mean the woman last night I didn't know?" "That's the problem," David cut in sharply. "You didn't know. And you didn't care." He turned to the staff gathered behind the counter. "Who was working last night?" Maya raised her hand quietly. "I was, sir." David nodded. "You showed my wife kindness when someone else showed cruelty. Thank you for that." Then his attention snapped back to Charles. "And you," he said, his voice cutting through the room like glass, "decided to humiliate a woman because of the color of her skin and because you thought she wasn't rich enough to matter. Tell me, Charles, how does it feel to realize the woman you disrespected owns this hotel chain's controlling shares?" The silence was suffocating. Charles's mouth fell open. "Sir, please, I didn't." "Save it," David said coldly. "You're fired. Effective immediately." Gasps echoed through the lobby. Staff exchanged stunned glances. Charles tried to regain composure. "You can't just." David raised a hand. "Oh, I can. I own this place. My wife and I bought controlling interest last quarter. I wanted to see how things were being managed. Now I know." Two security guards stepped forward. "Get him out," David said simply. As Charles was escorted away, he turned back to Maya, eyes burning with shame and fury, but she stood tall, calm, and unafraid for the first time in years. David placed a hand on her shoulder. "Thank you for standing up for what was right," he said. "Catherine wanted to make sure you knew she's grateful. She asked me to offer you a new position, head of guest relations. If you'll accept it." Maya's eyes filled with tears. I don't know what to say." "Say yes," David said with a small smile. "Yes," she whispered, voice trembling. Applause broke out among the staff. The same lobby that had witnessed cruelty now echoed with justice. Later that afternoon, Catherine returned radiant and calm, the storm long gone. She hugged Maya warmly. "Thank you," she said. "Not for last night, but for showing grace when others wouldn't have." Maya smiled. "You didn't deserve what happened." Catherine nodded. "Neither did you. But now, we make sure no one else ever does." From that day on, the Grand Horizon became more than just a luxury hotel, it became a symbol of dignity and equality. Charles's name faded into the past, while Maya's story inspired every new employee who joined. And every time the rain poured outside, Maya would glance at the lobby doors and remember that night, the night Justice walked in wearing a tailored suit, and kindness finally stood taller than pride. The story of the hotel manager who soaked a woman's face, only to be fired by her husband, spread like wildfire online, not just as gossip, but as a reminder.